Well, I'm just going to do a short little video now and talk about SWR meters and how to test them. Because, you know, you buy an SWR meter from the shop and you assume it's 100% as it should be, and that's it. You use it. But are they any good? And they come at all prices, from very cheap to, well, an absolute fortune. And what do they do? Well, basically, it just measures the power along your aerial lead in two directions. It measures the power going out to your aerial from your radio, and it measures the power coming back. In theory, if the aerial is working perfectly, every bit of power that you send up the aerial lead should go out and transmit. But if something isn't quite right, when the power reaches the far end, some of it is reflected back along the meter if things are not perfect. And of course things are never perfect anyway. So that's all the meter is. It's very, very simple, very, very straightforward. It measures the power in two directions. You could have 2 meters in a box, or you can have, as most of the cheaper meters are, a single meter with a switch measuring forward and reversed. And the point to realise, which a lot of us don't realise, is that the circuit is absolutely duplicated. What is going up the aerial and what is going down the aerial is two identical circuits. I have got the circuit here. And if you look at the circuit, you've got a line going from left to right in the middle of the screen, and that represents the aerial lead, the power going through the SWR meter. And that's basically all it is, a single wire going through the meter. And then you've got 2 little bits of circuitry. The top one is for measuring the reverse power, and the bottom one is for measuring the forward power. And if you look at it carefully, they're absolutely identical. This is a very basic meter, but the circuit is identical. The top one and the bottom one have both got the symbol for a resistor. That's a zigzag line, and that is usually, well, I was going to say about 50 ohms-ish, but maybe not. You've got this resistor, and then you have a diode at the other end of the line, which is like a pointed thing, and you have a capacitor which does a little bit of smoothing. But that's all it is. The forward part and the reverse part are exactly the same, and so therefore you can connect a meter either way round. I know when you have a meter, it says on the back, one connection is for the transmitter and one connection is for the aerial. But that is only there so that the forward and reverse switch works the right way round. It doesn't have any other purpose, as I'm going to demonstrate now. So here we've got 2 SWR meters. This one here, the black one, is one I bought brand new from a dealer. I can't remember which the dealer was. It doesn't really matter because it's a basic model. They're all the same. They all look the same. They might have a different brand name on them, but they're all identical inside the box of this particular style. So this one I bought from a dealer. Alongside it here, with the silver front, I have another one which is slightly bigger, possibly, is it? Slightly, well, I don't know, it's slightly deeper, there's nothing in it. But that one was given to me by somebody who decided it was faulty. Well, as I said, the purpose of this is to test SWR meters, and I'm going to test it in my little place, my office here, with a dummy load. You don't have to have a dummy load. You can do this with an aerial. Doesn't have to be, but there isn't an aerial in this particular room. So what we're going to do now is connect the first SWR meter up to a little CB radio with using a perfectly standard patch lead, and that's it. So we'll connect the patch lead to the CB radio. This happens to be on channel 20, but again, it doesn't matter, it makes no difference. So we will connect this now to the SWR bridge where it says transmitter. Turn the squelch off. Completed. We don't want to hear anything from that. So we've now connected the transmitter side to the SWR meter. Now the other side you would normally connect your aerial, but I don't have an aerial in this room, so we're going to use a dummy load. Dummy load is going to where it says aerial, which of course we're all 100% familiar with where we are now. This meter, the switch is switched to forward. We'll key up and we adjust the forward there to where it says set, which again you understand that, no problem there. Now we switch to reflected, and because this is a dummy load it's going to show very little coming back, as you can see. So forward, full scale on the set mark, reflected, it's not moving. Okay? Now this can be done with an aerial. It doesn't have to be an SWR bridge. It doesn't have to be a dummy load. You can do this with an aerial, and you can do it in any channel. So now what we're going to do is we're going to reverse these two wires. Take the dummy load off where it says aerial, and we'll connect it to the other connection now, which is labelled transmitter, and we'll put this transmitter onto the socket where it says aerial. So it's completely the wrong way around now. And again, but in this case, because we're now connected the opposite way round, the forward and reverse switch will now operate the opposite way. So now it's connected to reverse, or reflected as it says, and you will key up there. There we are, almost full scale. I probably disturbed something, but oh no, maybe not. So put that to set. Put that to set now, and we'll connect it to the other direction now, reflected, and now we've got a reading. Look, notice this. So that way, which now says reflected, simply because the wires are reversed, is on full scale. Put it to forward there, key up, and we've got a reading. So that is indicating that this SWR meter isn't exactly very good. It's quite inaccurate, because the circuit is identical in both directions, forward and reverse. If you reverse the two leads on the back of the SWR meter, it should read exactly the same as it reads when the wires are the other way round. Because they're identical circuits, everything's identical inside the box, so it should read the same, and it's not doing. That is not a very good SWR meter. Now it's possible there's something inside it to adjust it, to improve it, I don't know. I'll look later. I've never been inside this SWR meter. Right, so now we'll change over to the other SWR meter. This is a terrible squeak when you unscrew it. Oh, oh, it sounds like killing a seagull. We've got plenty of those around here, haven't we? Okay, so we know that one is not 100%. Now we'll connect this one, which is it's quite corroded and rusty on the back. So, transmitter. And the antenna. This is a ridiculously big dummy load, but again, it's all I've got to hand. So, switch is in the forward position, key up, adjust it to set. There we are on set, full scale, put it on reflected, and very little reflection, as you'd expect with a dummy load. If it was an aerial, it might be a different reading, it doesn't matter. What we'll do now is we'll reverse the two leads. So once more, just to confirm, forward is full scale, reflected virtually nothing. Now we'll swap the two connections around completely. Be careful not to touch anything else on the meter. Squeak. Oh dear. I shouldn't do these things. Well, I should bring the oil can in. Right, so we'll do completely reversing the connections now on the back. The aerial is going where it says transmitter, and the transmitter is going where it said aerial. Now, so the forward and reverse switch will now operate the opposite way around. So we're now on the reflected, and we key up, and there we are, full scale. I've not touched anything. Now on the other one, I had to touch the knob to readjust it when I changed the wires round. So there we are, full scale without touching anything. Put the switch in the other position now, and there we are, very little coming back. So there we are, full scale that way, nothing coming back that way. So what we've proved now, that this meter reads exactly the same in forward and reverse, whichever way these leads are round. So if you connect the lead the correct way round, it gives you your forward and reverse readings, forward and reflected readings. Reverse the two wires round, and all that happens is the switch operates in reverse, but the readings are exactly the same. So the wires correctly wired up or reversed, the readings on the meter are correct, exactly the same. It's just that the forward and reflected switch operates the other way round. So the point I'm trying to make is that this meter is working really well, really accurately. You cannot fault it. A great little meter. But this one here, which I purchased brand new personally myself, at silly money that they charge for these things these days, is junk basically, because if you swap the wires round, the reading is different. So it's not consistent. It's a quick and simple way of checking the calibration of your meter. If it gives the same readings whichever way the wires are, it's a good meter. If you connect it to an aerial and you've got a bad SWR, it doesn't really matter for the purpose of this test. You just reverse the wires and the meter should still read the same bad reading whichever way the wires are. But this one, as you've seen, this one here, it reads differently when the wires are connected one way to the wires connecting the other way. So it's garbage. It's garbage that I paid good money for. Well, there we are. There's my little moan and groan about SWR meters. You might disagree, you might not, but it's a very quick, cheap and cheerful, easy way of making sure your SWR meter is not lying to you. Reverse the connections and see if it still reads the same. Thank you for watching.